Cookin. I'm your hostess, Cindy Schumacher. On today's show, we're going to be making the spicery chicken and rice, fresh corn and zucchini saute, a dilly cheese bread, and out of this world brownies. We're going to start with the bread since that takes the longest. I have 3 cups of a biscuit mix. I use Bisquick, and 1.5 cups of grated cheddar cheese. You can use, if you like a stronger cheesy flavor, you can use sharp or extra sharp or medium or mild, whatever you prefer. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. So we're going to combine that. This is one of those breads that it's a quick bread, so now that school is going to be starting shortly and you want a nice meal and you want it done with without a lot of effort and a lot of time, this is a nice bread to make with a hot dish or a casserole. Okay, now we're going to combine 1.5 cups of milk, 1 beaten egg, a tablespoon of vegetable oil, a 1/2 teaspoon of dill weed, and a 1/2 teaspoon of dry mustard. I'm going to mix this together a little bit. Okay, we're going to combine it with the dry ingredients. I'm going to do it just a little bit at a time so it doesn't splatter up, or it's just easier to incorporate. Okay, one more time. You want to beat it until you get basically all the lumps out of there. Okay, we're going to pour this into a 9x5 pan. I sprayed it with Pam. Just like this. We're going to put it in the oven. It's going to bake for about 45 minutes at 350. Okay. Remember, all these recipes can be found on the Valley website, and if you don't have internet, give the girls a call and they'll help you get a copy of the recipe. I'm going to clean up and we'll get going on the casserole. Be right back.
As the demand for advanced broadband and cloud-based services continues to grow, so does our commitment to you, our members. We are committed to providing you with the newest technologies and fastest broadband speeds available anywhere. Watch for the exciting details on faster speeds and new broadband packages coming soon.
Okay, I've got a 1/2 cup of chopped onions and a 1/2 cup of butter. I'm going to get that going on the stove and let that cook until it's pretty tender, not brown. And then we're going to get working on our out of this world brownies. I have 1 cup of butter softened, and they say no substitute, so don't try to use margarine in this case. Go ahead and splurge for the butter. We're going to cream the butter and the sugar. I've got 2 cups of granulated sugar here. With humidity stuck to my bowl. Okay, and after you've got it creamed, then we're going to add 4 eggs, 1 at a time. I've got them already cracked and ready to roll here. More. Okay, we're going to combine our flour. That's 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Our cocoa, this is 1/4 cup plus 3 tablespoons of cocoa. Baking cocoa, unsweetened. Get a whisk here. Okay, we need an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. There's already salt in the butter, so we don't need quite as much. This is my measuring spoons. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Now we're going to gradually add our dry ingredients into our butter and sugar. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, we're going to put it in a 9x13 pan. spread it as evenly as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it into the corners. Okay, I'm going to get this going in the oven. We're going to bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then we'll start working on the casserole again. Okay, looks like the onions are about ready there. So to that, we're going to, I have drained mushrooms. I've reserved the broth, and so what we're going to do is combine our chicken broth here and our mushroom liquid, and then we're going to incorporate it into that with some flour. I'm going to take a quick break and clean up. We'll be right back.
Get 3 months free access on all lines, plus a new 4G smartphone for only $4.99 a month. 2 great offers with Valley Cellular. Call Valley today at 437-2615 to take advantage of this great deal.
Okay. To our onions and butter now, we're going to incorporate a 1/4 cup of flour. That cook for just a minute, and then we're going to stir in our reserved liquid from the mushrooms and our 1.5 cups of chicken broth. I actually think it's ready. It's pretty thick. We'll add our liquid there. Okay. While that cooks and thickens, then we'll combine our other ingredients. We're going to add our cream now too. I think it's get it going and get it nice and thick. This is 1.5 cups. It says light cream. I kind of am using a mixture of whipping cream and half and half, just to kind of give myself a little bit of a thinner cream, but not quite as thin as a half and half. So we'll let that thicken, and we'll combine our other things. I have 3 cups of cooked and diced chicken breast, and 4 cups of cooked wild rice. The recipe calls for 1 cup of raw wild rice. 1 cup will yield 4 cups of cooked wild rice. I'm going to cut myself short on this bowl, I think, a little bit. I'm going to grab something else here. I have a 1/4 cup of diced pimento. That gives it a little bit of color. And our mushrooms. That's 6 ounces. Most of those little cans that you buy are 4 ounces, so you might have to use like 1.5 cans or buy a bigger can and reserve some for another dish. We've got our pepper. That is a 1/4 teaspoon. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I've got 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped parsley. this is coming here. That needs just a little more time. Remember, all these recipes can be found on the Valley website, and if you don't have internet, give the girls a call and they'd be happy to get you a copy. I'm going to clean up. By then, our mixture will be thickened and we'll be ready to incorporate everything, and we'll be right back.
Valley Telecommunications is pleased to announce that our Technology Solutions Center is fully stocked and open for business. We have a large selection to meet your wants and needs. Some of the items we currently carry are a variety of corded and cordless phones, different brands of tablets such as Kindle Fires and Apple iPads and all the accessories for them, Telekin computers, Epson and HP printers and ink cartridges, Apple iPods and accessories, office supplies, wireless keyboards and mice, cellular phones and accessories, different types of media storage, cameras, headphones, power strips and surge protectors, and much, much more. You can also get your very own Valley swag. Our prices are reasonable and comparable to any other retail store. If there is something that you want or need that we do not currently carry, please let us know so that we can check into it for you. We accept all major credit cards, cash or check. Please feel free to stop by our office and check out our new and improved store for all of your technology and day-to-day business needs.
Okay, our mixture is nice and thick. We're going to mix it in with this. I have to tell you a little story about all the dishes that we go through when we make these meals. And thank heaven that Lisa is able to help me with it. But when my parents ran a supper club in Aberdeen called Helen's California Kitchen, there was always so many dishes, and my dad never reused anything. He didn't rinse anything out. He'd just grab a new one. So when the dishwashers would come in at about 5 o'clock or so, and for the evening, my mom used to always feel so sorry for them because they had mountains of dishes. But anyway, just reminded me of all the dishes that Lisa and I do during this taping. This is an 8x8 pan. It's plenty full, but it should be fine. Then we're going to sprinkle the top with a half cup of blanched slivered almonds. And then this goes in the oven for 25 minutes to half an hour. Basically everything is cooked. You're basically just heating it all through. So in it goes. I think our bread is ready. Set that aside and let it cool. Start working on the vegetable. This, when you have something like this casserole and it doesn't have a ton of color by the time you put the cream sauce on and everything, it's nice to do a vegetable that's quick, easy, delicious, and nutritious. So I have 3 small zucchini. I'm going to just cut the ends off here, and we're going to dice them very fine, and it's going to be paired with corn. And I'm going to teach you a little something here. I'm always amazed at when I'm at people's houses and they're chopping things and they're using a little paring knife and they're going like this. Use a chef knife. This is your friend. So you want to just go ahead and like this, and your knife shouldn't even have to leave your cutting board. You should just be able to go like this keep on, I think I've got an end here, I want that out of there. Just keep pushing it together and chopping. And notice you aren't going to get this. You just, when you use your chef knife properly, it's like that. It's just almost a whisper. And then there's a less chance of you getting your finger under there or chopping something that you don't want chopped. The secret about this is we want it to be almost to the size of a corn kernel. You don't want a great big chunk of zucchini and then the little tiny pieces of corn. We want to get them as close to the same size as possible. For the corn on this recipe, it calls for 3 medium ears. 1 medium ear of corn will yield about 3/4 of a cup of corn. So with this recipe, I'm using about 2 cups, maybe just a little bit more. And you don't have to do this when corn is in season. You can you can use frozen corn if corn on the cob isn't in season. It just so happens that while we're in August here, that you should be able to get your hands on some nice ears of corn. Okay, that looks good. A couple in there that are bigger. Okay, we're going to get cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll put our vegetables together, and we'll be right back.
Valley's Mobile Command Center is coming to a town near you. Stop in at Valley's Mobile Command Center to learn more about our services, see and test some of our products, ask questions, or just to visit with us. Make sure to check your newsletter for specific dates and times when we will be rolling into your town.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Okay, we're going to start working on the frosting for the brownies. I've got a 1/2 cup of butter, and we're going to brown the butter, and that's what gives this a special flavor for the frosting. So I'm going to get that going. In the meantime, we're going to pull out the brownies. They're ready, and we'll let them cool before we ice them. Those there, and we're going to start the vegetables. I've got the butter melted in the pan, and we're going to start sauteing the onions. That is a 1/2 cup. And after those are starting to tenderize a little bit, then we'll add the rest of our vegetables and our seasonings. Now the glaze is very simple for this, and it has no sugar. It's 1 ounce of unsweetened chocolate and a tablespoon of butter. We're just going to put that in the microwave just for a few seconds. In the meantime, we'll take the bread out of the pan. Make sure the sides are loose. aside. I have a lot of these little mini whisks. They're kind of nice for something like this where you don't have a lot of space to work with. Put this back in for another few seconds. Now remember, all these recipes can be found on the Valley website, and if you don't have internet, give the girls a call and they'd be happy to get you a copy. Let's see what we got here. Just got to be patient when you're melting a block of chocolate. You used to be able to buy the Choco Bake in the envelopes that were pre-melted, but I haven't been able to find those, so we're back to doing it the long way. Okay, glaze is ready. Just set that aside. We're going to pour in the zucchini and the corn and get that going. What you want to do is keep stirring it around so you get the butter on all the pieces. And I'm going to add my salt and my pepper now. If you season it while it's cooking, they get absorbed into the vegetables a little bit better, so we'll get some seasoning on there. We're going to just let that saute for a few minutes. Okay, my butter's just starting to brown, so we'll be able to start using that. I remember a little saying that used to be on the menus out of my parents' restaurant at the very bottom, and it said something about the essence of culinary art is time, and we ask your kind indulgence. So sometimes you just have to be a little bit patient and give your food the time that it needs to be done properly. So don't be in a hurry to grab something off before it's brown or before it's properly cooked or baked. You want to make sure that everything is properly done, and if you're entertaining or if your family is waiting, just let them wait a few minutes. Okay, I think we've got a nice color to it now. Space here. Our brown is over. what I'm going to do, instead of moving it into my kettle, I'm going to actually go ahead and incorporate it into my mixing bowl. And we have a half cup plus 2 teaspoons of half and half. We need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I pre-sifted my 4 cups of confectioner's sugar. It's important that you sift your confectioner's sugar. You're going to have lumpy frosting. That never makes a nice presentation. Going to frost our brownies. This makes a lot of frosting, and it makes kind of a layer of about that thick. That's the way the recipe reads. If you don't like quite that much frosting on your brownies, don't use it all. Just save it for something else. I made this for a funeral not too long ago, and I put the entire thing on and everybody loved it. As a matter of fact, one gentleman had 3 of them. So, but you know, you can make the recipe your own. Once you make it once and you see, I might like to change that, go ahead and change it, make it your own. This is the tricky part. Let me stir the vegetables here real quick. I'm going to put a little lid on there just to kind of hold a little bit of the steam in. Now, you want to drizzle this over the top, and you have to be careful when you drizzle because sometimes you get a big blob, which has happened to me before. So just take your time and try to artfully drizzle the chocolate over the top. And because it's an unsweetened glaze, then it helps to cut down a little bit of the sweetness in the frost. So it looks like this. I'm going to flip it up real quick so you can see it so it doesn't run. So, okay. We're going to take just a real quick break, and by then the casserole should be ready and we should be about ready to eat. Be right back.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Okay, looks like we're ready to go. I'm gonna put the vegetables in a vegetable bowl. And we'll go ahead and dish. You're going to love this casserole dish. If you like cream of wild rice soup, this has that exact same flavor. These brownies, normally you would want to give them a little time to cool and to set up, but we're going to dish them so that you get an idea of what it looks like. You can see it has a layer of the frosting on top of the brownie. And there you go. We have our spicery chicken and rice, our fresh corn and zucchini, our dilly cheese bread, and our out of this world brownie. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Country Cookin', and we'll see you next time.